Hey everyone, welcome in. This is Julie Max and the Maine Stamper. It is Monday evening. It is 8 o'clock on the East Coast, and I am doing my live card class. My weekly card class from Maine is what I call this. This is where we spend about an hour together making some beautiful cards. And I always do 3 cards on a Monday night with the same bundle or featured products. And that way it gives you a good idea of what you can do with the same bundle, whether you have it at home or you swap out my card ideas for product that you already have. Now, of course, always, if you love my cards from my Monday night class, I'm offering them as freebies with your order during the week. So check out the description of this video if you're not sure what that is. If you're new to me, say hi. I'd love to know who's watching me in the craft room on a Monday night. It's a little bit warm here in Maine. I think it's probably warm everywhere, right? But it's September. Hi, Jess. Oh, Jess says she might lose power, storm clouds. Hi, Patty. Patty knows it's hot in Maine right now. We took our little pool down. It's just a small pool. Happy Labor Day, Melissa. We took that down today because we always want a hot day to take it down because we want the sun to dry it all up before we roll it up and put it back in the little box. It's one of those pop-up ones that has the little blow-up tube at the top, and the grandkids love it. It's nothing major, but it's definitely a lot of work. The older I get, the more work it is, and I'm really glad that my husband Frank was available today to help me with the cleanup process. All right, let's talk about our cards for today. We are doing the Modern Garden Bundle. Now, this is a stamp set. It's photopolymer. This is the punch. I'm going to show you from the back. Well, I'll show you from the front, but it's going to be kind of, well, I guess you can see. You can see all kinds of stuff. It's like a mirror, right? And this is the bundle that we're using. This is from the new mini catalog. The mini catalog starts Wednesday. So I hope you have your catalog. I hope you have your wish list. And if you don't have a catalog yet, you can look at it live online on Wednesday and check it all out. So I'm just going to check one more time. Hi, Michelle. Michelle will be getting a catalog soon. Sorry, Michelle, it's coming. All right, let's get over to my workspace. We're going to start talking about our class. We're also going to just really quick, I'm going to mention the product share. The product share is all about paper and ribbon, and or ribbon. You can get just the paper share. You can get the just the ribbon share. You can get a combo share. And if you do a combo, I'm giving you the iridescent adhesive back gems for a freebie. These are like super shiny. They're flat, so they're really nice to mail. And this is an old paper. I actually changed the date. Sign up is by September 5th, which is tomorrow. I will send you an invoice by tomorrow that you will need to pay. And there's also new papers that were just released by Stampin' Up. They are also a $10 add-on to any of these shares. So if you want the new papers, there are 5 new packs that I hadn't figured into this pricing. So you can get the new Christmassy papers. I think some of them are Christmas, some of them are more generic. There's a really great tartan with some foils in it. It's beautiful. That one is fall to me. But anyway, the additional paper share will be available for $10 on top of whichever share you want here. If you want to check it out on my blog, themainstamper.com, I have pictures of all the papers, all the ribbons, everything you would want to see. So I just wanted to remind you to sign up for that if you so desire. Now we're going to be working with an item in the catalog here today, Modern Garden. However, I still can't open this catalog up. So next time I see you, we'll be able to open the catalog and talk about what page it's on for the Modern Garden stamp set, which if I look at it off camera, I could probably figure that out really quickly. That way, if you have your catalog, you can go to the page 52 and 53. It's going to show you that information. Okay, so Modern Garden, photopolymer, and I have mounted up 13 of these stamps. Now there's a lot of stamps here. These are two-step stamping if you desire them to be so. So some of them will work together, and some of them you can just, stamp a flower and move on. What's really nice about this set is it covers some different seasons. You've got Christmas and birthday. You've got enjoy your special day, best wishes for a fun-filled future together. So obviously this is going to be engagement, it's going to be wedding, and then a special day could go with birthday as well, or a special day could be any occasion. Really, that's a special occasion. So it's kind of nice to have a little bit of variety. So the fall mini catalog isn't just about Halloween and Christmas, just in case you were wondering. Now the modern, this modern punch right here, which is really hard to see, so I'm just going to leave it like this. This is an oval. It's a large, let me see if I have a scrappy paper. I know I have these in my kits, but let's just punch one real quick. So this is going to be, it doesn't work with specific items in the stamp set. So this is what it looks like. It's like a rounded oval, right? So it's not like our double oval punch. It's not as oval as that. It's a fatter circle, but it's great. So again, it doesn't work with any image. It works with any image. It could be with any item that you have already. Anything that you can fit in here for a sentiment piece, you can stamp on this piece. So this is offered as a bundle, but it doesn't necessarily have to be something you get together. So maybe you don't want stamps that have flowers on them because you have lots of flowers. Maybe you just want to get the punch. You can get the punch separately. Or maybe you want to get the bundle because you're going to save 10% and you don't have a lot of flowers yet. You are still looking to build your sentiments. Maybe you like some of these flowers that are in here. You might like them more after I show you the cards that we're going to make. So let me move this out of the way, and we'll talk a little bit about the cards next. So as always, when I do a class on a Monday night, let's flip our page. This is the Modern Garden card class. Through September 8th, which is Friday, with your $35 order, you're getting 6 card kits and 2 of each design. $50 order is going to get you the embellishments. So here's the card kits. So here are the big chunky card kits. There's all kinds of things. So you're going to see here, you're getting something that may be die cut. You're going to get some things that are embossed. New embossing folder alert there, and some more things that are embossed, and also new embossing folder alert here too. These 2 embossing folders are brand new in the catalog. So this is the card class this week. It's kind of an interesting color palette, right? It's a little bit different. Now if you bump your order up to 50, I'm going to send in the free embellishments. These are called Blooming Pearls, and these are brand new again in the annual the mini catalog that's coming out. We have in tones, we have pink, we have lagoon, we have a green tone, which it's tons of different greens, and we have gold. So there's 4 different colors here, and I used 3 of them. I think you can see I used 3 of them on my cards tonight. I'm also using in this card class the Garden Walk Designer Series paper. Again, this is 6x6 paper. This is part of the paper share, in case you're wondering what in the paper share is going on. This is some really fun paper. Now you're looking at this maybe and thinking, spring? Oh, gorgeous for spring, right? But hold on. We also have a transition into like more fall type paper, like fall, and then we have a transition right into Christmas or winter, right? So these are definitely more Christmassy. We have a poinsettia out of those. So you can kind of see that there's all kinds of different garden walk, right? It's a garden walk. It's a walk through the seasons is what really it is. But this whole class that I'm doing tonight will feature the some of the beautiful papers that are in this gorgeous paper pack. So we're going to start out with this card right here called Enjoy Your Special Day. Isn't it pretty? I love the blues and the reds that are going on here with this designer series paper, and I really enjoy the fact that the designer series paper told me, it said, Julie, use these colors. So I have here Poppy Parade and Lost Lagoon. Now I never would have thought to put Poppy Parade and Lost Lagoon together, but look how fun this card kit is because of this paper. The paper really is what brings us all together. If I took out the designer series paper, you might be like, you know, it's okay. But I put this paper in and you go, oh my gosh, it is gorgeous, right? And that's just the fun of the designer paper. Now this paper, of course, two-sided, right? So depending on what you do with your kits, you may decide that you don't want the flowers. Maybe you just want these really awesome stripes. But this is your card kit. You're getting 2 of each for all of these parts that are going to put this together. I'm going to separate out real quick, and we're going to put one together right now. So again, Lost Lagoon paper, some designer series paper. You'll notice that these are cut from the same paper, right? Obviously, right? So you have a little bit of that. You've got this really cute stripy paper, but it's also florally on the other side. I like options. You know I like to change things up too as I get going here. All right, and this is odd and rare, so I don't want you to get used to it. However, for this first class out of the new mini catalog, I'm actually sending you punched pieces. I'm not asking you to buy this punch right now. I'm asking you to try this punch right now. I'm actually going to send you punched pieces. And normally I don't send anything that has to do with the bundle because I'm encouraging you to get the bundle so you can try it out for yourself. But for this class, I'm actually going to send you punched pieces. So you're going to have everything you need to make this card except for the stamps. And you can certainly fill in whatever stamps you like for this particular card. So let me grab out my card base because I always have one that's ready to go, so that it takes me just a minute less here going on to what I got going. Hi, Lori and Deb. I just popped over to check messages real quick. I see Lori and Deb on, so that's awesome. All right, let's talk about the bones of your card. You know I love to talk about the bones first. So when I talk about the bones, I really mean you've got all these parts and pieces. Maybe you don't have the exact same stamp or bundle, but what are you going to make when you get this at home, right? So we're going to put this together a little bit at a time here. Now I am going to keep up this pretty floral paper because I really love it. So we're mounting this on the Lost Lagoon. These pieces are all cut for you. You'll get PDF directions as well, so you don't even have to think about it. You're just gluing and going. Now this piece right here is going to come to you. It is die cut from the basic Borders dies. So I have this set right here, and I die cut out, which one did I die cut? This one, I think. Yes, this one right here, the zigzaggy one. So I die cut that out for you. You'll get this die cut, and this is meant to layer behind this piece right here. They are the same height. As you can see here, they're the same height, and you can decide how far out you want them to go, whether you want them to be farther apart, closer together. So you can see my card sample right here. If I were to lay this on here, you could put them out farther if you wanted more white, or you could snug them in a little bit closer here as you assemble it. And you could have just a little tiny peek of the white. I really like it that way too. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. And I'm actually just going to put some glue here on this white piece. And I'm just going to grab the outside edge that's straight. And then I'm going to line up. Now as you're doing this, you may want to check your orientation of your posies, right? I feel like because this one is so large and facing this way, I'm going to make sure that this is the side facing up. And I'm going to go ahead and lay this on here. And this is where you can kind of move this around a little bit to decide how much of that white you want to overhang there on that one end. Now, if, for example, you're doing this and you're like, oh, I have a little bit of extra right here at the top, maybe they're not quite the exact size, you can definitely bring in your trimmers. And you're just going to trim along here very carefully. And just trim off that little tiny excess. And I mean, it was a teeny tiny excess right there at the top. And then we're going to put this onto our card base. It's just going to go on flat. If you like to use dimensionals, you can. I use them in different parts of my cards, but not on every piece of my card. Let me bring in my sample again. So make sure you know which way it's opening. And we're going to layer this on, and it's just so beautiful. I love these colors together. I never would have imagined putting these colors together. All right, so we have more scraps and more layers because I like to do a lot of layers. Now this time I'm going to use the stripy pattern, which is the back of our floral pattern. And we're going to just put this down here on our little Lost Lagoon strip here. And we're kind of just building up a place on our card for our sentiment layer to go. So if we were just to pop the sentiment layer on right now, let's pretend we're going to layer these together and just put our sentiment here. It looks like it's lacking, right? It looks like it's okay, but this one has something for it to set on. So I like to do a lot of layers. Now maybe that's not your thing. When you get these kits at home, you can do whatever you like. If you're a minimalist, you can have these parts and pieces for all kinds of other projects. I just really like to add in some layers and some depth and give my card fronts a ton of interest. I love to have the interest on there. So here you go. Here's the bones of your card, just like this. So this is what you're working with. And then you've got some other pieces here. We're going to stamp on the white ones here. So let's get some stamping done. As mentioned, I'm using a lot of these stamps today. I've got 13 stamps out of this stamp set for 3 cards. My colors are going to be Sweet Sorbet, Flirty Flamingo, and Garden Green. So these are the colors that I'm using. And it's kind of funny because this is a Poppy Parade base. Sweet Sorbet seems very, very familiar to me. So we're going to go with that. And we're going with that because I'm using Sweet Sorbet in another card. And that way it kind of shows you don't have to match every time. If you have some inks that are similar in color, they're going to work out just fine. So I've got Garden Green right here. We're going to bring Garden Green in. And we're going to stamp this cute little leaf design right up here, kind of toward the top. And now we're going to bring in a couple of our flowers. So these little flowers right here, let me show you on this stamp case, it might be easier. There's this flower and this flower, and I'm going to layer these two together, and it's going to create this really sweet little flower right here. So we're going to start out with the bigger background and our flirty flamingo, and I'm just going to ink this up. Now there's no orientation. However, if you keep this long petal down here to the side, it seems to not float in the air as much, because this is kind of this is a stamp, or I would say the leaf stem doesn't really fit perfectly on the flower, but you can kind of manipulate it a little bit. And we are going to actually bring in a scrap paper. I need to stamp off these cute little spray of flowers. So this one right here, it's a cute little spray of flowers, and I'm going to stamp off my flirty, and I'm going to come down here at the bottom. I'm actually going to do a couple this time. I don't think they showed as super well on my first card, so they're down here at the bottom, but I ended up covering it up too much, so when I do over, I like to try some different things too. All right, so we are done with Flirty Flamingo. We're going to set that one aside, and now we're going to bring in Sweet Sorbet. Now with the Sweet Sorbet, we're going to bring in this smaller flower. So again, this smaller flower also has, so here's the long piece of this one that we just used. Here's the long petal from this one. So they kind of do match up a little bit. So what you can do is you can layer them on exactly. You can get these lined up here. So you can see that it goes exactly right over top. So we've got the longer petals going this way. But if you rotate it a little bit, which I'm going to do next, and I'm going to make my flower a little bit fuller. So I'm going to rotate it this way. Whoops, I rotated it very little. Let's try it again. Let's try it this way. So I'm basically trying to fill in a little bit. So I'm making this a little bit bigger, and I seem to be really good at stamping right over top of my previous stamping. But on this one, you can see that I did a couple of layers on there, and it kind of fills in the petals. But it is super cute and sweet. I do love it. All right, let's bring in our sentiment. Enjoy your special day. And we have a little bit of paper here that we're going to stamp on for our sentiment. I'm just going to go ahead and center this and then trim it. Enjoy your special day. Gotta love it, right? Okay, we'll move some things aside and we'll doctor up our sentiment here, and we'll get the rest of our card put together. I like to do some corner snipping here. I call it angle cutting, right? So I'm just going to cut an angle after day, and then I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to follow the same angle. So we're going to go this way, right by enjoy. So it kind of gives you that angled look. This is way better than trying to cut banners into, I'm just not the best banner cutter, right? So if I can do that, I'm super happy. Now you're going to notice that you have a Poppy Parade punched piece, and we're just going to shadow them together. It just gives this white piece a little bit of emphasis, right? And you're going to see that there's a lot of weird going on here, right? This green doesn't come all the way down. This is kind of floating. We're going to split the difference though with our sentiment and some more designer series paper, so it's all going to work out perfectly in the end. So I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive just part of this Poppy Parade piece, and then I'm going to bring in my other piece, and this is where you can decide, do you want it to shadow on the top, just the side, how do you want it to shadow here, right? So I'm just going to play with this just for a second and get that right about where I want it. So just creating that overlapping look, and that's going to come on our card with some dimensionals. Let me grab them out. We're going to use, I did grab a new pack out. I think, oh, I have 4 left on this. I have 4 left on this sheet before I have to start cutting into the sides. And that is exactly the number that I want right now, is 4. So I've got 4 on here on this little modern oval. I'd love to know your thoughts on this little modern oval. I think my thoughts are this is just such a basic punch that it's going to follow into the new annual catalog, I think. That's my thoughts. I think it's one of those punches just going to transition right into the next catalog, and because you can use it with so many different things, right? So I've got my little floral arrangement there, my little punched floral arrangement. Now we're going to put this paper in. Actually, I'm going to glue these together first. Enjoy your special day. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here on the designer series paper, and then put my sentiment over top. So the designer series paper is meant to be shorter than the sentiment and just kind of an accent piece. And by putting the glue on the designer series paper, I didn't have to worry about putting glue on the white and then having it overhang in all kinds of different areas. This is just going to come up here now, and I'm going to just put some right in the middle. And we're going to kind of bridge the gap again between our stamping here. We're going to go here. I want to make sure that I can still see my green leaves sticking up, but this one is much nicer because I can see way more of that cute little stamping at the bottom. My original does not have enough. I didn't want to redo it. It was you know, I put these cards together, I designed them, put them together, and then I always go, next time I would. I don't know if that's the way you stamp and design too, play with your cards, but definitely that's where I'm going. So this one right here, I don't know if you can see that, I have a tiny little pink pearl right here in the middle of this flower. There is a white spot. There's a white spot right there, and it's perfect spot to put a little pink pearl. Super cute, right? Now I used on my original card, I used these, this Lost Lagoon, this almost like a blue color, but I'm thinking I'm going to try the pink this time. So I absolutely adore this pink color right here. We're going to go this way, I think. And I'm just going to continue my pattern of pink here. I know I have a few fans out there that adore pink. I know there's some people that love purple, but I know that there's also people out there watching me that are fans of the pink, like fanatically. I'm thinking if I had pink and purple wars, it would be like crazy times out there in Facebook land. But there we go. I wanted to see how the pink would look, and I think I like it better. I don't know. I always like to play a little bit when I'm making cards live. So we've got the blue embellishments, we've got the pink embellishments, and you're probably out there saying I should have used a blue one here to change that up from all of the pink. Let's see what happens. Sometimes I do this. I scoop them back off, pop them back on the sheet, and then, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to put a blue one here. There we go. Okay, switch, swap, swips. I can't say it tonight. But there's card number 1, and I would love to know your thoughts on which one of those is your favorite version. The one with the pink or the one with the blue? Yes, Deb, this is a beautiful card and simple, right? It is. I like to, make the enough elegant features, but not something that's going to take you hours and hours and hours to create. If you were to recreate this at home and you had border punches instead of dies, that would be pretty quick too. You could even skip this part, maybe just put some vellum behind there. That's another idea, but I just love this really pretty in pink card that we just did for our first card. All right, we're going to jump into card number 2, and I know that I haven't been showing you absolutely every card as we go. So this one may be controversial, and only because this wild wheat is not everyone's favorite color, but I think it's really gorgeous. It's a rich color. It's great for fall. It almost has a golden look to it. And again, I let my designer series paper kind of talk me into what are we putting in this card kit. So again, nice big card kit. You're getting two of each, right? So you can share with a friend if you want to, or you can do 2 and then switch up your designs. It's so awesome. I know that my biggest surprise, I guess I shouldn't say surprise, maybe delight. My greatest delight is when another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator orders my card kits because they love the card class so much. So they order from me, foregoing their discount for just a brief time, right? And they get my card kits because they love them. And I'm like, wow, that is like the biggest compliment someone can give me, really, is to, to be able to do that for me. So I love that. All right, so we have new emboss folder alert. As mentioned previously, this is a set of the new embossing folders. This is called Cheery Patterns, not Cherry, but Cheery Patterns embossing folders. These are minis. There's 2 of them in here. So one of them is very stripy, and one of them is like big spots, which could look like Swiss cheese. It could look like this would go good with the planets a bundle that's in the annual catalog, and this could look like ornaments. I mean, there's so many things you could do with circles, right? So I really like this one. But this is from the a new set in the mini catalog, and I'm still gonna separate some papers out. And now this is I thought this was kind of funny. Last week I did the layering leaves class. So we had a whole class last week, if you missed it, all about the layering leaves. Now this is, of course, these come from the bow punch, which is my favorite punch in the world, really. I mean, I use this one a lot. So here I am using it the next week, and it's in this card right here. I just love to add it in as accents. So you're getting some in Mossy Meadow and then some in this nice, this is Sweet Sorbet this time. I'm kind of going back and forth between Sweet Sorbet and Poppy Parade, but let me get those out of the way. Again, I'm giving you these little punched pieces, so you are good to go there. And I think I have everything now. So let me set this aside. There's so many pieces sometimes as I get them all out, I get confused because I'm like, okay, I'm talking and I'm trying to do all of the things and my brain's not working. You know what I'm saying. All right, so again, gorgeous paper, absolutely gorgeous paper. Now, depending on which cut of paper you're getting, your flower may or may not be at the top. Actually, this could be at the top if I flip it this way. This is technically upside down, as you can see from this flower. Like, it should go this way, but I might make it go this way. So these are things you can manipulate with your card kit. Now, if you look at the back, you're going to notice you're getting, again, similar pieces because we're doing the flip here, which I love. I love to be able to flip the designer paper when the back looks so beautiful and it works with the front. So let's begin with some wild wheat. Now, I don't know in the comments if you're talking to me about wild wheat. Love it, hate it, not sure if you like it. Wild wheat is different. It's definitely a different color. Again, it's one of the new in colors. Maybe not your favorite, maybe not your go-to, but it's really great for fall theme cards. And I think with this paper, it just transitions so beautifully. Okay, I gotta remember what I'm doing here. Wild wheat. Let's do some embossing folder inking. So I've got the wild wheat, I've got my blender brush. I'm just gonna come down here and I'm gonna kind of come through and darken down my paper. So my card base is wild wheat. And I would like to make my layering here a little bit different. Like it's the same tone, right? It's a little bit different. And I'm not trying to be super careful about where I'm putting this ink down, obviously, right? I haven't really perfected the whole just the emboss piece because I'm getting ink everywhere. And I don't mind that it's dark in some places. I don't even care right now if I drop it in my ink pad. Like, that's perfectly fine. This is all going to be going on the card and no one will ever know if I did such a crazy thing. And believe me, it has happened. So let's bring in our card base here. We're going to talk about, again, our bones of our cards. We've got the wild wheat card base. We have this really cool cheery circle embossing folder that's brand new. And I'm going to pop this onto my card front here. So with the ink added in, you're going to just see how awesome it is to create those kind of tone-on-tone colors, right? But keeping it all nice and beautiful. Let's talk about all these lovely layers right here. We're just going to be doing some quick layering here. This is very vanilla. Now, I'm not sure on camera if this looks like it's white, but it is vanilla. So it is a little bit different from white. This is a white piece, so I hope that you can see that this is very white and this is very vanilla. Like, when I say very vanilla, I mean very vanilla. Okay, I am gonna put this on upside down. Because I'm gonna be covering up this upside down flower, I want this little piece to show. So again, depending on the cut of the designer series paper that you get, you may be getting a little creative, but I do like that little pop of red up there. So I'm gonna pop this on here. And again, all just layering, just beautiful matting going on here. Now this piece is a little bit bigger, so you are going to be overlaying one of these, whether this piece tucks under or this piece goes over. There is a little bit of playroom. I do that on purpose because I want you to have options. So when you're putting this on your card front, make sure you're just focusing on keeping the continuity of the matted layer and just overlap as needed. Excuse me. Okay, I'm getting a little dry here. All right, now I'm giving you this tiny little piece of wild wheat. And this is going to go on here, whether you put it on the bottom designer paper or the top, your choice. There we go. So there's a nice layer right there. This one we're going to put on with dimensionals. All right. All right, I keep sipping here. I'm going to try to keep this tickle out of my throat. I don't anticipate a coughing spell, but you just never know, right? As the seasons change and all the pollens and things, they get a little crazy from time to time. So there we go. Excuse me, dimensionals, right? And this is going to be the bones of your card. So we're still working on the bones. We haven't talked about stamping yet. We haven't talked about imagery, any of that good stuff. So you're going to be able to create this if you want to. Now, of course, you can change it up as well. But this is what you would be able to create just with the bones of this card kit. And I've got the dimensionals on the back of this piece. And there it is. And I think that's just really, I love these colors together. Again, the designer series paper helps to make these colors flow. It also helps to make this wild wheat a pretty color. It's not one that I would grab out all the time, but I certainly do appreciate it when I want to try, try it out here on the cards. Now these are Mossy Meadow, and I've got your leaves, and I've got your sprigs in Sweet Sorbet. So I'm just going to layer these on here just like I normally do for all of my different cards that I like to make, and just make sure that I like where they're laying. I might move this one over just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to bring in some tear and tape, and I am going to attach these just like that with the tear and tape. So sometimes I try to do them all at once. I don't know, I think I cut a long strip of tear and tape. I think we're going to need 2. And I always put the tear and tape down to catch the stems, but also where I know that my embellishment or my flower is going to hide the adhesive. So I wouldn't put them up too high or too low, and they don't have to be secured. Every little nook and cranny of those do not have to be secured. I am going to recommend, though, that you do take off this adhesive tape topper, because this little paper right here is very waxy, and it's hard for other things to stick as we build our layers up. So we do want this to be sticky. Now, if your leaves kind of pop up, like mine tend to do sometimes as I take that off, I'm just using the spatula end of my Take Your Pick tool. I'm just kind of poking the adhesive down around the stems so that it encourages it to stick to the paper and stay in place. Okay. Ooh, I hope I don't lose my voice here. All right, we're going to continue. Early Espresso. We're going to do our sentiment here in Early Espresso, and we're doing It's Your Birthday on this cute little modern oval. Let me find the stamp right here. It's Your Birthday. Now, when I did this, I put this down a little bit toward the bottom right, and that's so that I could get the flower in there too. So that's a really sweet font. Of course, I love the fonts, right? Every time the fonts come out, I'm like, I don't know if there's a font that I have not liked yet. I should probably start keeping track of that just in case, because I really love the fonts. Okay, so in this card kit, again, this is very vanilla. We have a piece that we're going to stamp the flower. So this is a flower from our stamp set, and I'm using this big flower right here, and then I'm using this one right here, and I'm also using a center. So there's 3 pieces that I'm using for this particular stamp set. Let me grab them all out, make sure I have them all here. And it's just from the last one. Yes, okay, sorry. I had so many stamp sets out right now that I'm like, oh my goodness. All right, so I have, hi Jackie, thanks for joining in. I see that Jess and Linda both like wild wheat. That's awesome, because I know that wild wheat can be such a hard color to love. All right, so we're actually going to use wild wheat in our flower as well. So I don't know if you can tell or not, but there's wild wheat in our flower. And we're going to stamp off, so I do need my scrap paper back. I'll just keep my scrap paper here and do a little stamping off on my scrap paper, just so that it's not, just making sure my camera's good. All right, so I'm inking up fully. I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp over here on my Very Vanilla. And look, it's kind of like a pale yellow now. It's kind of like a golden yellow, which is really gorgeous. So we're good there. Now I'm going to bring in the center of my flower, and I'm going to do this with full wild wheat ink right here in the middle. And it really doesn't matter how you line this up, because this is a very circular center stamp, where the first stamp has definite petals going in different directions. So there is our stamped off. So the first stamp was 2nd generation ink. The second one was fully inked in wild wheat. Then we're going to come back in with the early espresso. Really like the brown for the center. And this is a stamp that's in this stamp set. So there's 2 different center sizes, and the bigger one works really nice here to give us this really awesome. Now it's got like 3 tones to this flower. So as you can see here, I'm just playing a little bit with these different stamps today. There's a lot of flowers here. There's a lot of different ways that you can create different floral designs with these. Like you can layer different things together. Now okay, so again, there's no dies that go with this. We're just going to do a little bit of fussy cutting here. And it's not horrible fussy cutting. We're just going to go around the image. We don't have to be super exact. I'm going to show you my trick for not being super exact here in just a second. But we do want to kind of mimic the flower petals as much as we can. So just a little bit of fussy cutting. Now earlier today, on the 3rd card that I'm going to show you soon, I did a lot more fussy cutting, and I actually had a Christmas movie on in my craft room, and I just was sitting and fussy cutting and listening to the Christmas movie. And I can see how people that enjoy fussy cutting just sit and do it and have a great time, and it's wonderful. I can see how that could be a thing. All right, let me get rid of this dimensional backing here because that's going to bother me. But we're going to bring in Wild Wheat ink one more time. So you can see that there are a few spots that, I didn't fussy cut it perfectly. So I'm just going to bring in my dauber here and a little bit of this ink. And I'm just going to kind of bring this in and fill out the edges of my fussy cutting. And that way it doesn't have to be perfect, right? And it's okay if you move your dauber kind of more horizontal and go out a little bit, you can kind of fan color in without getting too much color. It's just giving you lots of different colors here, lots of different color variations. So that's what I'm doing with that beautiful little flower. And now we're going to put It's Your Birthday on with some dimensionals. So I'm going to just put 4 on here. So again, this modern oval punch. It's think of it as a circle punch. Think of it as an oval punch, right? I like it for, obviously you can stamp on it like I did in the first card, but I like it for sentiments. Like this is going to be a go-to punch for me for sentiments. And I know that punches maybe aren't your favorite thing depending on how hard it is to use them, but I love the punches. All right, so for this little flower right here, I am going to kind of just manipulate this a little bit and give it a little bit of movement. So I'm just going to kind of bend this up just a smidge and just kind of convince it that maybe it's not quite as flat. Kind of leave that little bowl type thing in there. And then it's going to come on here. So when you put this on your piece, you definitely want to make sure that whichever way you turn it, you're not covering up your words. So it's going to come up here. So you kind of manipulate it here a little bit. I think last time I had it going this way. I do kind of like it that way, with the pointy end here kind of facing this way. So I think we're going to do that again. I'm just going to put some glue in the middle here and pop it down. Again, making sure I'm not covering up my words. We're accenting the words, right? But we're not going to cover them up. So it's just going to come up here right like that. Super cute. Now for this card, my original card, I used the pink embellishments, and pink could possibly be controversial. I'm like, it doesn't quite go, but it does go just enough. There's a little bit of pink right here in our designer paper that it's not way out of the norm, but normally I would not use pink with these colors. And so let's just check to see if we switched our first card up. I think I might go with the green ones this time, the more green. There's blue here too, but I think I'm going to try the green ones on this one. Let's see if we like the green better. So we're going to just pop these green tone on here, and there's enough color in here. Now these are called blooming pearls, which is adorable, right? Blooming pearls. There's enough color in here. They're kind of shiny. They kind of have that that shimmer to them that looks like there's maybe more color going on than what you see. So here we go. I switched up my embellishments. My original had pink embellishments, and the new one has a green tone embellishment. So that is card number 2. Lots of fun, right? So you can see that your embellishments are going to work really well with all kinds of different cards. So card number 2 is in the books. My voice seems to be getting a little bit better again. Okay, perfect. We're going to move on to card number 3 here. So card number 3, this card kit fantastically fun. So again, 2 of everything in here. And this card right here, this is the one I was talking about where I said, I did a lot of fussy cutting for this card. So we're going a little Christmas here, but this is more non-traditional Christmas, which is kind of fun. I like to do non-traditional at the beginning of this Christmas season. Now I'm saying beginning because to me Christmas season is year round, but as September and October approach, non-traditional works for me. And then as November and December are here, I'm like full on traditional Christmas. These are kind of some non-traditional colors. And again, this designer series paper has the poinsettia in it, which kind of lends us to where we're going to be stamping, but it's got Pretty Peacock in it too. And Pretty Peacock is really not your traditional Christmas color, right? I mean, the garden green certainly is. So at least we have that going. Oh, new embossing folder alert. Look at this one. Oh my gosh. I love this one. This one's called Distressed Tile, and it is absolutely gorgeous. This again is brand new in the mini catalog. So you can see here now, this is not an accident. So there are some highs and lows where it embosses and then where it kind of skips. So that's the distressed part of it, right? It's not supposed to completely create a uniform embossing. It's supposed to look antique, like some of this rubbed off or wore off over time. And as you can see from both of them, they're exactly the same. But I love the pattern on here. So fantastic. I kind of really love all of it, but okay, here we go. I think I have things separated right. I might have like kept a couple of things over here that I shouldn't have. All right, let me move this card kit out of the way. We're going to talk about how fantastic we are going to create this particular card. I would love a garden green card base. So again, garden green, very plain and boring, right? Garden green, right? It's very traditional for sure, but by adding some non-traditional colors in, then we make it a little bit different. Definitely unique. So I'm just going to put this white layer down first, and before I put this layer down, you can see that there's a pretty good size difference, right? A pretty big color difference is what I mean to say. We're going to bring in my scrap paper again, and we're going to add some ink here, but we're not adding garden green ink. That would be too traditional. We're coming in with Pretty Peacock. So Pretty Peacock and garden green are pretty cool together. I had no idea until I started playing with it. So I don't know if you can tell here, the tinges on this particular embossed piece, that's Pretty Peacock, and that's what we're going for. All right, so I'm gonna kind of come in again, and we're gonna come down around, and we're just gonna kind of cover up some of this great embossing. Now this really brings out, of course, the gorgeous embossing in here, and this also shows you these spots right here that look kind of more empty, and this down here is where I haven't even colored it at all. So this was our original color, and look how it really changes the paper just by adding in that peacock. Like, it almost makes it a whole different green, but then you can get a little bit of blue out of this too. And I'm going to come in just like the distress thing here. I'm going to come in heavy in just a few spots and leave kind of some darker ink, because I want it to really look different. Okay, so I'm going for this look, and if you like to play with ink and you like to, you know, practice your blending and what have you, this is really a great way to do it. All right, so now when we add this to our card front, it's going to be totally fabulous. Let me get some adhesive on here, and we're going to layer this on. So that white layer just really leaves that nice bright cheery pop of color, right? I'm going to come upside down here because that ink might still be wet and I don't want it to get everywhere. So I'm just going to press from the back to make sure that I've got that on there. Isn't that beautiful? I hope you guys are oohing and ahhing at home because I love it. All right, we're going to come in now. This is also Pretty Peacock cardstock, and I have a dauber. I'm just going to find my ink again. Now I'm going to mix up some of this. I'm going to put some ink on here and change up how this looks too, because ink is fun, right? I like to use ink in different ways besides just stamping with it. I love to apply it to paper, cardstock, designer series paper, edging, all of those good things, right? So we've got some great edging going on here for that one too. All right, so let me move that aside. Now you can see here from our designer series paper, if you wanted to, you could mat these together. They are meant to layer or mat together. So this is the side with the extra ink. You can see how dark it is on all four sides. This is the side that doesn't have any ink, so you can see how it blends together a little bit better. And if you prefer to layer something together like this and put it on your card front completely straight, you could certainly do so. You don't have to do an angle, but I thought it would be fun to angle this a little bit and then angle this one a little bit and just get that crisscross of colors so you can see both tones of the peacock. And that's how I'm going to do this again. But when you have these card kits, you can be creative however you want. So as I line these up on here, I'm actually kind of focusing on the top left and the bottom right corners. So you can see that they fit here pretty well in this, on the green embossed piece. So they're not going over onto the white. They fit here with just a little bit of wiggle room if you want to angle those in that manner. And check out the back of this paper. This also matches. So again, if you wanted to just use this paper instead of going with the Christmas route, you could make a really great masculine birthday card with this. You could, you know, all kinds of different cards, of course, too, but we are going to keep it poinsettia friendly here today because we're going to be splashing into Christmas here from here on out, unless I'm doing Halloween. Then I have to, you know, maybe not do Christmas, but see, I'm trying to see which way. I'm going to go this way, I think. So again, depending on the cut of your designer paper will depend really on how you want to put this onto your card front. And I'm just making sure that they are not straight, right? So they are going on at an angle. This is great, especially if you're making a lot of cards. When you get into Christmas card mode, sometimes you're making card after card after card, and it gets exhausting. It's a little bit tiring, right? So if you don't have to line things up and you can be a little bit crooked, I say go for it. Do a little bit crooked, because then it's just going to be easier for you. You don't have to stop and make sure everything's lined up perfectly, and then what if it's crooked and then you don't like it and you got to start over and all of those things, right? So let's talk about the colors of our poinsettias. So I have two of them here. I have Sweet Sorbet and Real Red. Now my go-to colors usually for poinsettias are Real Red and Cherry Cobbler, but the cherry was way too dark for this color. This is more of a poppy color, not even quite a real red color. So I brought in Sweet Sorbet. Sweet Sorbet and Real Red work really well together, and that's the two colors that I have here on this card. And I hope you can see Wink of Stella, because that makes it shiny and fun too. All right, so on this piece of paper, you get to stamp 3 poinsettias, and we're actually using some two-step stamping. We are going to use this flower right here and this flower right here. We're going to layer these together. Now they don't have to be poinsettias, they kind of look like it, right? I'm sure you could make regular flowers as well. They don't have to be poinsettias, and you don't have to do 3, but I am doing 3. So I'm going to start with the big guy here, and we're just going to do 1, 2, 3 here. 1, 2, 3, and they're so fabulous already, right? That's the fun part. I love that part of the stamping, the fun parts. All right, we're going to bring in Real Red, and we're going to do the center. So now the center is going to be darker, and we're going to try to line these up with kind of, there's an orientation if you wanted to line them up so that they work out really well. And here is an example of yes and nope. I'm calling this right here. So in the yes, you can see that these little petals really line up well. And I went ahead and embossed that one too, because it's really pretty. This one was my nope. You can see here that these petals do not line up. Like they're kind of coming off. Now, you could certainly do them however you want, but if you're trying to line them up, there is kind of a taller petal that will line up with the taller petal of the other one. And then you're going to be able to line them up and get your two-step stamping, and it'll be beautiful. And if you keep your stamp, your original stamp, in the same orientation each time, you don't have to think too much about each particular petal going down exactly how you want it to go down. So that's a little bit of tips on how to get those to look fabulously fantastic, right? Now I'm going to emboss these with some gold in the center. So in this stamp set, which thinks of everything, right? These little tiny speckles right here are perfect for, I mean, it matches the designer paper, so we know that that's meant to go inside this these cute little centers, right? So I'm going to go ahead and use my Emboss Buddy. I've got gold because I think gold is a really great color for Christmas cards. And it looks beautiful with the reds, of course, too. Here's my Versamark. I think I am going to plug in my heat tool because I haven't plugged it in yet. There we go. Heat tool's plugged in. Okay. And I need to find my little, here it is, my little stamp that's going to splatter the center of all of these flowers. Now, you'll notice that the centers are still really white. I didn't cover them with a different color. And I stamped all three at the same time, and I'm just going to sprinkle my embossing powder on them at the same time, and I'm going to turn on my heat tool and let that warm up just a little bit. While I do that, I'm going to cover my powder because I don't want my powder to blow away. That could be a thing too, right? So, a lot of prep work here, but the embossing part is so awesome. Get my reverse tweezers out. These things have been fantastic. I absolutely adore them. And we're going to go ahead and heat up the centers here. And you're going to see that the gold powder really covers the, I mean, you can see a little bit of white through there, but that gold powder really covers up so much that you really don't need to you know, think about that too much. Now, this is fantastic. I didn't realize this, but as I put these together, I had a little bit of an overspray of my gold powder on my poinsettias. And I actually think it's really pretty. So there's like a glimmer here all around. Now I used Wink of Stella here on my final process, and I added that little bit of glitter glow to it. Clean up some ink right there. That is mine. That is not my other card. Where'd my card go? Here it is. I added some Wink of Stella on there to add like some shine, but that little extra glitter that kind of touched all of my flowers is really pretty too. Now I fussy cut these, so again, this is what we're doing. We're fussy cutting, and I fussy cut some earlier, so I didn't have to do that. But you can see how beautiful they are. Now again, they kind of pop out pretty easily. I'm just going to use my Wink of Stella here and just add a little bit of shine to these flowers. And I'm not going crazy. I'm not doing the entire thing. I'm kind of focusing on where the darker red color is and just giving that part a little bit of a shine. So on each one, you just brush on that sweet little glitter ink. And I believe the Wink of Stella is on back order once again. This one goes on back order quite a bit. So if you have it in your stash, be happy that you have it. And if you don't have it, you'll have to wait a little bit. But I recommend maybe even getting two because they go on back order all the time. But this is just a great way to jazz up your little flowers, make them super pretty and ready to go onto our card. Now I didn't do our sentiment, so we're going to bring in the embossing one more time. Actually, maybe I'll do one in real red this time. I did a couple extra up ahead of time. So if you wanted to do your gold sentiment, obviously you could, but maybe you're not really a fan of embossing and maybe you just want to stamp the sentiment. So let's try one that's, I do want to kind of see what it's going to look like stamped. So let's go with, here it is, wishing you the warm blessings of Christmas. So we're just going to do this in real red ink. And we're going to pop this on here and just see what it looks like. Oh, so pretty already, right? Let me cover this up. And we'll cover this up. And then we'll just take a peek and see how much do we love it. So this would go on here. And then our flowers would come up here. And kind of come around in a little circle. And that would be the difference between the two, which is really nice actually also. So maybe I'm going to go with that one just so we can see how beautiful they would be when we do that together. Do I have any dimensionals? Here we go. So we're going to pop some dimensionals on first. Everybody goes tumbling off the card. We're going to put 4 again on our modern punch. Was it modern circle? Modern oval. Modern oval punch. I think that was called modern oval. I'll have to look it up again. And we're going to pop our sentiment here onto the card. Right about there, I think. And then I did use 1 dimensional on the back of each of these flowers as well. These pretty poinsettias. Although again, they could be other flowers too. I think asters have kind of a kind of a petal that's similar to this. Now, just like our other card, when you're putting these on here, you want to make sure that you are not covering up your sentiment, right? You're kind of tucking these flower petals around. Oh, I forgot to sponge them. Let's see if we can do that real quick. I have a sponge here, real red. I could see the difference. I could see that. We're gonna pop this one off. We can do that. It'll go back on. Okay. I could see the difference between my fussy cutting here. I hadn't done that yet because I didn't want to do everything off camera, right? So I'm just show you that again. I'm just using the sponge dauber, putting a little bit of red ink here around the outside. So again, it's giving it kind of a three-dimensional color palette without changing the colors too much. There, that looks so much happier. Because there's a lot of white here still. I didn't fussy cut perfectly because I didn't want to fussy cut perfectly. I wanted to just fussy cut and go, right? So doctor it up a little bit, add a little bit more ink to it, get your fingers really inky. That's what it's all about. And these can overlap a little bit. And the last one. Oh, so pretty, isn't it? The all these little touches, just like a little bit of ink, a little bit of Wink of Stella, a little bit of embossing, just really makes it really pretty. Now this one I need to take the backing off yet. And there we go, just like that. Kind of layer that on there and get those three little flowers just right around the sentiment piece. Let me move these aside. We have to bring in our bling. Now for this one, I'm looking at the pink again because I really like this pink. I really like the pink bling, but I feel like because we have so much, we do still have gold embossing. But no, I'm going to go with gold. I really like the gold. The gold is shiny and pretty. Plus this designer series paper is kind of dark, so we're just going to add in some different, I'm going to put one on there. I think I put this one over here. This is a tiny little one. Sometimes I try to make my triangles in different areas, but I think I like the bigger embellishment over here better than the small one over there. I would probably move that over there. See, these are thoughts that I have as I'm doing my cards, as I'm redoing my cards. And again, we've got the one that's stamped with the red. We've got the one that's embossed. I would love to know your thoughts on which ones are your favorites. So let's take another look, a last look here at the cards from the card class this week. So again, some different colors here. We've got some really rich colors, right? They're not like pastels. We're heading into fall here now. And we've got just a nice little array of floral. This is from the Modern Garden, so obviously they're kind of modern flowers, but they're also all season flowers too. So those are our cards for tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed your card class. Let me pop back over and check out messages. Janice says the wild wheat works up nicely. It really does. Just like the green embellishments. Hi from the Cape. Aw, thanks for saying it's adorable and just likes the poinsettia card. Oh, with the red ink. That's awesome. And Linda as well. The red ink stands out. That is awesome. You know, I try to thank you, Patty, for saying they're pretty cards. I try to create the cards, and then I try to, thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Lori. I try to also change them while I'm live with you, just to show you, like, it's on the feet thinking, really. Like, I'm standing here doing all of this. Hi, Kathy. The red ink. Oh, you guys are loving the red ink. I'm so glad I changed it up. Sometimes I change it up and then show you the option, but sometimes I change it up live while I'm creating the cards and just like, let's try this. That's always the fun part of let's try this out. So thanks for checking out my card class tonight. I'm so glad you loved it. If you want to place an order this week, I highly recommend you wait till Wednesday, because obviously Wednesday is when you can order from the new mini catalog, and you know you're going to want to get some stuff. Now, there may be stuff that's already on back order, and if you have anything that you come across that you can't add to your cart and you want to know when it's going to be back in stock, please just message me. I can let you know what date to expect that. Thanks, Michelle. Everyone's loving the red ink tonight. Woohoo for the red. So if you place an order this week of $35 or more, you're going to get 6 card kits in the mail. Like, that's just amazing value, right? And if you order 50 or more, I'm going to throw in those really sweet bloomin' pearls. I love the pink. I think we should have a set of just pink pearls. I'm just saying, they're really pretty. So $50 order this week is going to get you the blooming pearls. Those are brand new in the catalog too. I shared a lot of the new products so you can kind of get a little peek at it. If you have any questions, please leave them here and I'll go back through the comments later and read them. Thanks for spending some time with me. Make sure you come back on Thursday at 3 and check out a fun fold card featuring the modern garden, of course. We're going to be working on this all week. I'm going to be sharing some different things with you. Wednesday, I'll have a color swap on Positive Paper Crafters. That's just around the corner. So please enjoy the rest of the evening. And until next time, stay inspired, create something beautiful, and share the love. Bye, everybody.